Hey everyone, welcome back to Damn Tasty Vegan, and today I'm going to help you finally quit cheese. Now, if you've said this before, I would love to go vegan, but I could never give up cheese. Don't worry, I've said the exact same thing. So I'm going to let you in on my tips that helped me to finally let go of cheese. One thing that stopped me initially from quitting cheese was that there's so many delicious foods with cheese in it, and I thought I would have to give up all of those foods. But don't worry, you can quit eating cheese and dairy and still eat all of those delicious foods. There's vegan versions of everything out there, so you're not going to miss out on anything. So the first part of the video, I'm going to talk about the mindset you need to have. This part is really important, so don't skip it. And the second part is going to be like the nitty-gritty detail of actually how to go about doing it. So watch the video in its entirety, because if you don't get the mindset right, then you're just going to treat this like a diet and you're going to slip off of it and just go right back where you started. I don't think people who eat dairy products are bad people. I think we've just been duped into thinking that we need it, that it's healthy for us, and that it's necessary. And it takes time to unlearn that conditioning, and it's no coincidence. The dairy industry spends millions of dollars every year on advertising campaigns, making us think that we need milk for calcium, that it does a body good. And it's really absurd considering that 65% of the population is lactose intolerant. I will cite all of my sources in the video below. And when you really think about what milk is, it's the breast milk from a lactating mammal. It's bizarre that we drink it. Cows don't even drink milk once they're done weaning. So what makes humans think that we need it? It's so bizarre. Sure, at one point in our existence, when the food was scarce, it helped us survive in times of scarcity, but we're not there anymore. So it's kind of outdated. Needing milk and dairy is not fact, it's advertising. You can get calcium from leafy greens, dried figs, soy, tofu, fortified orange juice, fortified plant milk, fortified whole grains. They all have calcium in them. So just look up plant-based sources of calcium and you'll be fine. Number two is you have to realize how cool the dairy industry is. We like to think that cows live in this idyllic pasture that are just like loved and sung to and treated so well, but that couldn't be further from the case. And even if it were the case, and I'm sure there are some organic farms that think that they treat their animals really well, they still end up in the slaughterhouse after they can no longer produce milk. We're still exploiting a species just for our taste buds when we don't need to. I'm not talking about like people punching cows and stuff, which does happen. I'm talking about just the inherent cruelty in it. And this is rooted in speciesism, the fact that we think that certain species deserve to be treated certain ways, just based solely on the fact that they're of a certain species. So in order for us to have milk, we have to impregnate a cow once a year so that she keeps producing milk. The cows are artificially inseminated every year because bulls are kind of hard to handle. So they jerk the bulls off, take their semen, and artificially inseminate it into the female cows. Now, for the industry to be profitable, they have to take the baby calf away from the mother so that they can then sell the milk to humans for consumption. It's standard practice that the farmers separate the mother cow from the baby within 24 hours because they say it's within the animal's best interest, because they supposedly form a less strong emotional bond when they are separated within 24 hours of giving birth. Sometimes the farmers even have to get a tractor with like a forklift and take the baby away from the mom that way to ensure the safety of the person taking the baby away, because a lot of times the cows will get highly upset and try to charge the people trying to take the baby away. Can you imagine giving birth to a baby and then someone coming in right after you've cleaned them off and take them away and then exploit you for your breast milk, and then they re-impregnate you every year? If you think that buying organic, natural, grass-fed, all that bullshit is going to make a difference, it doesn't. To separate the mother cows from the baby cows in order to be profitable. Dairy farms and farms are not animal sanctuaries, they're a business. They have the interest of the animal's welfare in mind only to the extent that they can make them profitable. So don't fool yourself into thinking that it's kind to the animals. Since the male calves are no good for the dairy industry, they're either sent off to be turned into veal or they're raised raised to be turned into beef later on in their lives. So even if we treated the animals as humanely and kindly throughout this whole process, the process itself of exploiting this animal for their breast milk, it's cruel and it's unnecessary, especially when there's so many milk alternatives out there nowadays. So when you're done watching this video, I highly recommend you go watch Dairy is Scary. It's right here on YouTube. And I also recommend you to watch Dominion or Earthlings. You can find both of those on YouTube. So they live a life of having their babies getting taken away from them every year, and then they still end up in a slaughterhouse. So even if you're kind to them throughout that whole process is cruel and unnecessary. So it takes time to adjust and to learn how to live without cheese and dairy, but just stick with it. It gets easier with time, and mess ups are all part of the learning process. I messed up so much in the beginning, and it's totally okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just keep going. Just know that you're doing the right thing, not supporting this cruel industry. We don't think that animals are more important than humans. We just think that animals are more important than our taste buds. Now, if you're in a survival situation, if you maybe live in a food desert and don't have access to food, vegans aren't bashing people like that. We're mainly talking to people who have the choice and ability to go vegan, not people in those survival situations. So changing your diet is about finding your limiting beliefs and reframing them. It all starts in the mind. Here's some common mindsets that you might have, and here's how to reframe them. I can't live without cheese or my favorite foods. I definitely thought that. You just have to reframe it to, I can still eat all of my favorite food. I never have to miss out on any food. There is a vegan version of everything. I will find the recipe for the food I'm craving and I'll make it. Vegan food is too expensive. You can reframe it to, I'm investing in my future health. Medical bills are expensive. Environmental destruction from animal agriculture is expensive. Yes, some vegan products are a little more expensive than their dairy counterparts, but that's usually because meat and dairy industry is highly subsidized. So the price that you pay for milk and dairy is really not the true price of it. Once you get used to the transition of not eating cheese and dairy, you tend to crave the milk and cheese alternatives a little less, and you start to eat a little more whole plant foods. Those whole plant foods are some of the cheapest foods out there. I don't want to feel left out with my family. I don't want to give up traditions. I don't want to feel like the weirdo at a dinner party, and that's totally understandable. That does take some getting used to. Yes, the initial transition is a little bit awkward. A lot of people come around if you're polite and you just gently answer questions and offer to bring food. And traditions can change, and tradition is no reason to justify animal exploitation and animal cruelty. So you can just make new traditions with different foods. You can make vegan versions of those foods, or you can try a whole new type of food, a whole new type of tradition if you want. Another thought or excuse might be, I only buy organic, free-range, grass-fed milk. And sure, this stuff may have less antibiotics, but it still has hormones. You're drinking the milk of a lactating mammal. She's filled with pregnancy hormones just naturally, and cheese has one of the highest concentrations of mammalian estrogen in it, which is the dangerous estrogen because it's mammalian and it mimics the same estrogen that we as human mammals make. And not to mention that these animals are still separated from their mothers within 24 hours of giving birth, and they still end up in the slaughterhouse after they're no longer producing milk or profitable. Another one might be, dairy doesn't kill or hurt the animals. Once again, the animals are sent to the slaughterhouse after they're no longer profitable. The dairy industry is not an animal sanctuary, it's a business. Another thing I've heard is people say that plant milks are worse for the environment, and that's absolutely not true. Even the worst of the plant milks environmentally is still better than dairy milk in terms of environmental factors. If you really want to buy a plant milk that does the least amount of harm on the environment, then go for oat milk. It's been shown to be the most environmentally friendly. Now let's get to the step-by-step of how you actually quit eating dairy and cheese, now that you've got your mindset right. So what you want to do is replace one ingredient at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. There are an abundance of vegan plant milks, cheeses, coffee creamers, heavy creamers, whipped cream, ice cream, you name it, it's out there. I promise. I understand some people have access limitations to this, and food deserts do exist. Accessibility can be a problem for some people. If you're in this situation, just do the best you can. Don't beat yourself up over it. Choose the vegan options whenever you're able to. If you're not able to right now, then just do the best you can. So don't overwhelm yourself by doing this overnight or doing this all at once. Do one thing at a time. Start with your coffee creamer. There are so many delicious vegan coffee creamers out there, and there are some bad ones out there too. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna lie. Just keep trying some until you find your favorite one. Some of my favorite coffee creamers are the Oatly Barista Blend. So good. Any Barista Blend coffee creamer is really, really good. It's creamy. Sometimes I'll even just use full fat canned coconut milk. It tastes really rich and delicious. Another one is the Silk Whipping Cream. Oh my God, it is so good. Silk Half and Half is also really good. Califia Farms also has some really good coffee creamers. So my favorite vegan cheeses are Violife, Miyoko's, and Chow. Those are my 3 favorite. Try some out, and if you don't like it, try a different brand. First, try just replacing overt dairy. You know, coffee creamers, ice cream, milk. Just replace those first. But don't worry about the hidden dairy in the beginning. Start with like the cheese and the milk and the coffee creamer and ice cream and stuff like that. There is incredible vegan ice cream nowadays. Ben & Jerry's has vegan ice cream now. So Delicious has amazing vegan ice cream. There's just so many. Just try them all. Don't expect the alternatives to taste the exact same as dairy. If you go in with super high expectations, you will be disappointed. Yes, vegan cheeses come a long way, so create a separate space in your mind to allow for those foods to taste good just on their own. Eventually, you'll see that they're tasty in their own ways. Another tip is, don't worry, your taste buds will acclimate. You'll start to crave the vegan versions. One time I ordered a pizza and they accidentally used real cheese on it, and I hadn't had cheese in like 5 years at that point. And I took a bite of it and I was like, oh, this cheese tastes gross. Like, what is wrong with this cheese? There's something off about it. Lo and behold, it was real cheese. And I had just gone so long without eating real cheese that it tasted weird. And so vegan cheese is gonna taste weird to you because you've been eating cow cheese this whole time. So give yourself time to acclimate. Your taste buds will change. Another tip is when you're craving cheese or dairy or butter, you're usually craving fat. So try to find a plant-based source of fat to add to your meal to make it more satiating and filling and comforting and delicious. Maybe add some tahini or some avocado or some vegan cheese or some vegan butter, whatever you need to do to stay satisfied. So if you'd like some dairy-free recipes to get you started, check out the link below, sign up on my newsletter, and I will send you a free ebook of my favorite creamy vegan recipes to help you finally quit cheese and dairy. Get started cooking delicious meals without dairy. Stop investing in speciesism and animal exploitation. So let's sum it all up. Quitting cheese and dairy all begins with the right mindset. Take a look at your limiting beliefs and reframe them. More than half of the population is lactose intolerant, so we don't need dairy to survive. We've been duped into thinking we need it. Even if dairy cows were treated with the utmost respect and kindness, they're still being exploited, they're still getting their babies taken away from them, and they still get their throats slit when they're no longer profitable. So replace one product at a time. Keep trying different products until you find your favorites. When you crave cheese, you're usually craving fat, so add some fat to your meals. Your taste buds will acclimate. Don't compare plant-based products to animal-based products. Plant-based products are good in their own way. Give them a chance. Organic and free-range dairy products does absolutely nothing to help the animals. They're still killed in the end. They're still exploited. The animal agriculture business is a business. It's not an animal welfare sanctuary. Make sure to sign up for my newsletter to get my 6 favorite creamy vegan recipes. So go slow, do the best that you can. Replace one ingredient at a time. Keep trying new products until you find your favorite ones. Go watch Dominion or Earthlings on YouTube. Go watch Dairy is Scary. You're probably gonna mess up and slip up and eat something here and there, but just go back and remind yourself why you don't want to invest in speciesism and animal exploitation and even human exploitation, and just try one recipe, one different ingredient at a time. All right, I hope that helped. Please leave me any questions that you have below, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me.